Welcome to the Waxing Comical Podcast. I'm Luke. Guess who's with me?
I'm Dane.
It's Dane.
Damn it. I'm Dane. Yep.
Just gonna do a real quick intro for this episode, not keep you waiting. We're talking about Nick Spencer, who is a comic book writer and has gotten some undesired attention from Fox News lately. We'll talk about it in more detail. We talk about The Walking Dead, the most recent episode, so if you haven't seen that, you probably should first.
Or don't, maybe you like to live dangerously.
Yeah, maybe
Or you just don't watch the show.
Yeah, maybe you like to get all your Walking Dead information from us directly in bits
for the last
and pieces.
2 weeks.
We can't
Starting
be doing
with season 6.
that great for you. There's not much else. We talk about a couple of horror movies, so if you haven't seen Oculus or Sinister or Insidious, go watch them, I guess. Don't actually, if you want to. If it's something you're planning on watching.
Just listen to us talk about them, because I think we cover them pretty well.
Pretty briefly.
Because they're not great.
Yeah.
We didn't mention too much about... Well, you kind of mentioned the end of Insidious where he doesn't punch a ghost, but...
Well, gee, Dane, you did it again. If you want to watch those movies, but haven't yet, then I guess go watch them first.
It's Halloween-ish.
It is time for horror
depending
movies.
on when you listen to this.
Immediately,
I want to rewatch the Evil Dead remake. That was really good.
I haven't seen the remake.
What the hell, dude? Just okay.
Okay. All right.
Just come to town and we'll watch it because it's so good.
Okay.
It's got Bruce Campbell.
That's all I need to know.
For 3 seconds at the end of the credits.
Shh! Don't ruin it for me.
And it ties everything together.
Anyway, other than all that, follow us on Twitter at Waxing Comical. We haven't really put much on there because no one's following us yet.
I put a picture of Ninja dressed like a prostitute.
Well, that's something.
I also talked about Hellblazer on here, so
yes,
strap in.
Alright, thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Have you seen the movie Oculus?
No, but that sounds familiar. It's like a ghost movie, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You know what I mean when I say ghost movie. Whatever it is, it's ghosts.
It's pretty much exactly ghosts. I'm not gonna split hairs on that.
If I gotta sugarcoat it, I'm gonna try to protect me.
If it's not ghosts, then it's something that is ghost-esque.
Well, that's what
some entity that lives in a mirror.
You ever see Sinister?
No.
It's
about
really
people with left-handed people? And they all rise up?
It's about the boogeyman, and he makes kids kill their families and videotape it or something.
That's not a boogeyman. That's that's a very real-world crime. There's no ghost that's been around for hundreds of years who is making people videotapes.
Well, they made a second one, and I think I read about it. I think they do say what he used before videos were a thing. And I'm sure it was something stupid etchings or scrolls.
Hold still for 60 minutes while I take this picture.
Don't smile.
They're not smiling.
I watched the first one. John had me watch it years ago because he likes all that sort of horror movie. I'm fine with most. I like slasher movies and Evil Dead and stuff. But when it's the house is if there's not something to punch, then I don't like it. If there's no potential for the victims to fight back, then I'm not interested. Because it just annoys me.
You're reminding me of Insidious. If you've seen that.
No, I haven't.
It's all about.
That's also one that I'm sure I'd hate.
It's all ghosts and possession,
stuff like that.
And I don't usually have a problem with that kind of stuff. Ghosts and not punching, but at the end, the spoilers. The main guy gets is able to project himself into the spirit world or some shit like that, and he's able
becomes Yu Yu Hakusho.
It's something like that. He's able to touch ghosts, and I was really hoping it would just turn into like an all-out action movie and just him just kicking the shit out of some ghosts. But basically, he just like pushes one out of the way and then goes about his business. Anyway,
Pollyanna. After he kisses prostitutes.
Sorry, Sinister.
Yeah, Sinister. So yeah, John had me watch it. It was like at his apartment, so there's a bunch of people watching it, and I just like made fun of it the whole time.
Did they appreciate this?
They did. John did not. He left the room like halfway through the movie because he was so upset that I was just making fun of it. And
Is
like
he left-handed?
You what?
Is he left-handed?
I don't care. Well, like, originally, I just didn't want to watch it, and I was like, oh, I don't do good with whatever, creepy movies and blah, blah, blah. So and once I said that, I couldn't just say, I think it's fucking dumb, and I don't want to watch it. Because, I was trying to be a little bit nicer. So the whole time he was like, well, you just say that because you're scared of it. I'm like, I'm not. It's really dumb. This isn't a good movie. Because it's like Ethan Hawke moves into this house with his family, and he's like a writer, and he's one of those dick writers that's like, I need inspiration. I can't write sometimes unless I have because it's like murders happen in this house. So he like needed that setting to write good.
It doesn't make any sense.
You, dude. Yeah, it's like, just do your work, man. You got a family to feed. Maybe that's your motivation. So the entire time John is insisting that I just keep going like, where's the ghost? What's the ghost going up? Where's the ghost? And his insistence is that there's no ghosts. There's no ghosts in the movie. It's a demon or whatever. Even though there's totally ghosts. There's like little kid, like the previous child murder people. Like they're totally ghosts. There's no other word for what they are. I can grasp that Bagul, who is the boogeyman, is a demon or whatever, or a god or a spirit. But these kids are definitely ghosts. There's nothing else they could be because no one, like, they're ghosts. They're not like walking corpses. They're ghosts. So the whole time I was going, "Where's the ghost? Where's the ghost showed up? I don't see the ghost." And then he left the room. That was pretty funny.
Is that the ghost? Is that a ghost over there? I think I saw a ghost.
So yeah, I don't split hairs when it comes to supernatural. Like werewolves and vampires are different, but like when it's like a spirit thing.
What?
When it's a spirit thing or something from hell, it's a ghost.
Yeah, I think it was pretty much the same thing in Insidious, where like there was one demon that just kind of looked like Darth Maul's mentally challenged younger brother.
I've seen that. I thought that was like a joke when I saw that picture. I thought it was like...
That is the main villain of that movie.
It was like the dude... I think it was Patrick Stewart or whatever walking into a room. I know what
Wilson?
I said.
Patrick Wilson, I think.
But think about if it was Patrick Stewart.
That would have been so much better.
It was like him in a room, and then I guess it was the demon just like hanging out behind his head. I thought it was like he knew it was there, and then it was like a paper mache mask or something. Nope. Just like something creepy to put in the background. But I guess apparently that was a demon, and not made of paper mache.
Yep.
Wow. The only scene I've seen from that movie is when the little kid is dancing or something. And if you go back,
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim. And if you go back, you can actually see him just standing facing a wall, like right next to the woman. That was kind of creepy.
Yeah, it was all right. I
I'm just not into like ghost and creepy house movies. Just give me like a Jason Voorhees, like something that somebody can fight back against. I like that.
I'm fine with either kind. It's just in general, as long as it's a good movie. I feel like any of the genres can be done well. Maybe those just tend not to be. So yeah,
I just prefer when there's somebody who is vaguely competent or can be competent.
Yeah, so probably don't watch Oculus.
It's gonna piss me off.
Yeah, I liked the start of it. It started out pretty cool. It was like...
That's not the Kiefer Sutherland one, is it? I think he did like a horror movie with Mirrors. That might have just been called Mirror.
I think it was just called Mirrors or something like that. Yeah. No, this one was with Karen Gillan from Doctor Who.
I think I do know what you're talking. I think Tosh talked about it a bunch of times on Tosh.0. Because sometimes he'll just be like, "Hey, go watch this on Netflix." Like he'll do like several weeks in a row. He'll do that.
It's on Netflix,
and I think
but
he mentioned Oculus a few times.
I'd say just watch the first half of the movie and then just make up an ending in your mind.
Why? What's wrong with the ending?
Okay, so it starts out pretty cool because it's like basically there's this entity living in a mirror. It's a ghost. Let's just call it a ghost.
It's a ghost.
And,
if you have to say anything that's not like werewolf or like a vampire,
there's werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein monsters, and ghosts. That's all.
I think you mean Frankenstein's. You don't need that extra fancy word, city boy.
We're all Frankensteins.
On the inside.
So this girl and her
There
brother...
are very few supernatural creatures. Most things are ghosts.
Most are ghosts. This girl and her brother, when they were kids, their father murdered their mother, and then the brother killed the father. And so, like, for most of the movie, it kind of goes back and forth between two timelines, like what happened that night, and kind of the time leading up to it, and then what's happening to them as adults. And, like, because the brother went to a mental hospital afterwards because, you know, he killed his father.
Because he murdered a guy.
It's kind of a big deal. They were like 10 and 12 at the time, so they were young.
Yeah, he's like old enough to know, though.
I guess. Even though his father did kill his mother. Like, no one was disputing that.
Yeah, no, I get that, but, like, still.
Whatever. Anyway, so, like, at the beginning, he's like, look, we had a really traumatic experience. This wasn't ghosts. You're being crazy. This is crazy person talk that you think this is ghosts.
But also, here's the thing. Totally ghosts.
And she's like, no, this is a mirror. Assuming. There's things living in this mirror. It killed our parents, tried to kill us. We need to destroy it. And it turns out she's right. And it's like... They kind of play with this, like the unreliable narrator kind of thing where, like, first, the fact that you don't know if maybe they're just remembering the event from their childhood wrong, or if actually it was ghosts. But then it turns out the ghost basically, like, fucks with their memories as they're going on, so they'll be doing something in the room and not realize it. And so it's like this mirror has kind of a defense set up where no one can destroy it because it'll just make you think you're doing something else. Like,
so it's that feeling you get when you walk into a room and you're like, why did I come in here today?
Pretty much. So, like, when they were kids and they found out that it was the mirror behind everything, they tried to, like, smash it with golf clubs, and then they, like, look up after they're done, and they've just been slamming into the walls next to it. So they do that throughout the whole thing, and, like, she's got these timers.
So it's just it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon of them trying to destroy a mirror.
Pretty much.
And the wacky Bugs Bunny-esque tricks that it pulls to get out of it.
And, like, I thought it was going to be like You're Next, where she was just super prepared to fight this thing, because she did a bunch of research into everyone else who the mirror has killed over the past several hundred years. Most of them, like, die of dehydration or starvation in their own homes because the thing just tricks them.
Forget to eat and stuff.
Yeah, so she's got, like, timers set up to remind them to eat and drink. It seems like she's got everything set up. Basically, the main thing is that there's this big yacht anchor hanging in the middle of the room with a barbell attached to it that will go off if they don't reset the timer every 45 minutes or something. So she's like, if this thing tries to kill us, then this thing will go off and smash it, and it'll be dead, because it can't stop this thing from falling.
So why don't they just immediately smash it?
Because she was recording the whole thing and wanted to, like, exonerate her brother, I guess. You know, prove that it was something supernatural, somehow record it. Which I don't think really would have worked.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it would have, even if everything went well, because it doesn't seem to show itself. All they would get footage of was them doing really stupid stuff. And so, I mean, long story short, they go around and it keeps tricking them into doing stuff that they don't realize they're doing. And then finally, the brother is in the middle of a hallucination and his sister's out of the room somewhere, and he's like, just screw this, I'm tired of this, and, like, turns the timer to turn it off so that the anchor will fall. But then it turns out she was actually standing in front of the mirror the whole time, and it gets her in the back of the neck and looks really painful.
Is that the end of the movie?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did they break the mirror?
Nope, because it went into her neck instead. Yeah, that's the thing. That it's a very unsatisfying ending. And, like, they had called the cops earlier for some reason. Like, I guess...
It's come to you.
4 more witnesses or something. And so the cops get there right as that happened. They're like, oh, look, it's that guy that killed his father. Looks like he's done it again. And they
struck again.
And they take him off. And that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Wow.
So it was... It felt like it was, like, the first half hour, 45 minutes were pretty good, like the setup. And then the rest of the movie felt like it was really dragging on, like they weren't getting anywhere close to a conclusion. And then it just ended. And
they couldn't beat a mirror.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they should have just dropped it in the first place and destroyed it.
Yeah, they should have, like, made sure they were standing together and then dropped it.
Because it took a while to, like, get its effects on them, so it just got worse as time went on. So if they'd done it right away, they would have been fine.
Maybe it was just like what's the word I'm looking for? Analogy? I don't think it's an analogy. What?
A dumb?
A dumb? It's a
stupid?
dumb. Um, Maybe it's just like a metaphor for Alzheimer's, dementia.
Maybe. Very early onset Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I don't watch too many of those kind of horror movies. Like I said, I just prefer when somebody can fight back. Like I like the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Something that can get shot.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I don't know. I just don't like I love Supernatural, and that's now those movies piss me off even more because it's just like just go dig up the bones and burn them. It's so easy. Sam and Dean do it every week.
Is that how you kill ghosts?
Yeah, you salt and burn their bones or whatever possession they left behind them might have DNA on it, like gloves or something.
All right, makes sense.
They deal with a lot of ghosts.
So you can't just like grind it up and pulverize it or anything. It has to be salt and fire.
Yeah, then there will be like bone dust.
Well, isn't there still like bone ash?
You know what? It's good enough.
I'm just
trying
to
think about it.
I'm just trying to get it straight here. Just figure out how to kill
ghosts.
Ghosts
are fictional, Luke. So I think they can kill them however they want.
I was not a fan of this week's Walking Dead episode.
Yeah. Last week's I like that one a lot better.
Yeah, that was good.
I also totally thought that the first guy that ran up and like macheted that woman, I thought that was Carol having like a like not daydream, but you know what I mean, like seeing something.
That's exactly what I thought.
Because I could have sworn that I thought it was her dead husband. And I was like, oh, she's just seeing him, and he's like, you know, her idea of a tormentor. But it was just some guy that ran up and macheted a woman.
He is the weapon of her fantasy. No, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, okay. She's getting a little dark here. Like, I know she didn't like this woman, but she doesn't need to be...
That's what you get for smoking.
Yeah, that was really abrupt.
Big fat guy. Yeah, like, it kind of came off as like... I remember once I was in 8th grade. No, I was in 8th grade for many onces. A lot of days. We were watching The Outsiders, and there's a scene... Spoiler alert for The Outsiders. There's a scene where Ponyboy's parents get... Like, they're in, like, a car, and the car gets, like, hit by a train and explodes. But it came so out of nowhere that I just laughed out loud in class. And the teacher was like, Dane! I was like, oh, it's not my fault they shot it like that. But, like, higher pitched, probably. So, yeah, that's, like, how it kind of came off for me. Because he just ran up like a slobbering maniac and macheted a woman.
So how about that Nick Spencer debacle?
Yeah, that's really stupid.
It's really stupid. For anyone who hasn't been paying attention to comic-related news or Fox News, if that's what you listen to, Nick Spencer is a comic book writer, and a great comic book writer, I think.
Real good.
I love his stuff.
I do too.
Most of it. Like, the only thing I didn't love that he worked on was Avengers World, which he wasn't, like, the main writer, I don't think.
I think he was for a little bit. Like, Hickman, I think, co-wrote the first 5 issues with him, and then I think he wrote pretty much entirely on his own, like issues 6 through 14, and then I think Frank Barbary took over for like 2 issues, or 2 issues of the 3rd volume, and then continued after that for however long it went until I'm assuming it's over.
Oh yeah, I assumed it ended a while ago. I haven't read it in a long time.
I think there is a volume 4, but I don't have that because it's not Nick Spencer.
Well, yeah,
but I liked it. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know it was all one storyline.
I thought the humor was like a little more forced than his usual stuff. Like, it seemed like he was just trying to put jokes into action situations.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I don't think it was like his idea for a comic. I think he just got the job writing for it. So I think that kind of explains that a little bit, as opposed to the stuff that he writes on his own for Marvel. Where he gets, I wouldn't say creative control, but he gets like a good amount of his own ideas in it.
Yeah.
Which shows because that's what pissed off Fox News or Fox and Friends or whatever.
Apparently, at least
he dared to put his own personal viewpoints in politics into.
Although, is that how it worked? Because like I don't actually know, or didn't actually know if that is the case, that it was his choice entirely, or if just Marvel was like.
I actually stopped following him on Twitter just because he just posted so much political stuff, and I was like, it's like your comics. I don't need to know your whole thing. If you want to put it in a comic, that's fine. I'll read that. But I don't need to get like clogging up my Twitter feed.
Which,
I pretty much just follow people like for funny tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really need politics or news.
I mean, the thing is, like, the political views, if you want to call them that he, showed in this Captain America comic weren't anything extreme. It was just, hey, maybe let's not murder immigrants.
Yeah, let's not be violent racists. Like, because they're not, like, just guys who don't want their country to have foreigners in it. It's literally violent racists. If you're not white, you're not right. Their word, maybe not their words exactly, but their
They might as well
intention.
have said that.
They might as well, because I mean, I still haven't read the issue, so you read it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Were they actually racists in that issue?
Yeah, they're pretty racist.
Okay, wow, okay, never mind. Because I was gonna say maybe they just didn't display them as actual racists like they were in Daredevil.
No, like if you've seen the Fox News segment where they talk about this and how terrible it is, I know you have, but for anyone else who has, they were pretty accurate in how they were quoting the comic. Like, everything they said does show up in the comic. It's a bunch of racists who are trying to stop immigrants from coming to the country and possibly planning on gunning them down. And they just were pretty much in defense of that.
Yeah, I mean, even if they weren't, like, racist, even, like, as I said, even if they literally were just, didn't want illegal immigrants coming into their country, like, it's still them wanting to enact violence, and Captain America and superheroes in general are pretty much against people, like innocent people being hurt.
Yeah.
Regardless of their country of origin.
Even Punisher only kills criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
But he does love him some killing.
That's all he loves. So yeah, I feel like there should have been somebody on that show. There had, like, I don't know how many people work on the show, but there had to have been at least one guy who, like, maybe read Daredevil and was like, oh, guys, maybe you don't want to side with them because they were very clearly racist and any comic book fan is going to laugh their ass off at you.
I'm not that confident that there's anyone there that has read Daredevil. I don't see that being super likely.
Okay, so good, though. They should.
They should. Everyone should read Daredevil. Go read Daredevil.
By Mark Waid.
Out now.
I think Volume 4 is out soon, so I'll finally own all of it and I can reread it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing was that, like, the whole Sons of the Serpent issue that not everyone, that Fox got all up in arms about, was like the last 3 pages of the comic. Like, most of the comic had nothing to do with them, and then they just showed up at the end. Which, slight spoiler for that issue of the comic, the very last thing that happens is that the real Captain America, Steve Rogers, no offense to Sam Wilson, shows up.
Can't be any offense. He is the real Captain America.
He's got wings. Steve Rogers shows up in a SHIELD ship or whatever to interrupt, Sam Wilson facing off against the Sons of the Serpent, and is like, Falcon, Captain America, I mean, you need to stand down. This is not your jurisdiction, or something like that. So, the person that these people probably think is the real Captain America, the white one in their eyes. Not. This is not my opinion. This is what I assume to be other people's opinions.
You're just trying to put yourself in the shoes of a violent snake-themed racist.
Yeah. Well, no, but I'm saying the person that these Fox News reporters probably consider the real Captain America, the one in the movies. And
right, okay. I thought you
Captain
we were
America
talking about the real world.
For like the last, 100 years, however long he's been in comics.
Yeah, about 100 years.
Yeah, give or take. He seemed to be against this Captain America that they don't like. They don't mention that at all. The fact that Steve Rogers seems to be more on their side, which clearly he's not going to be. Like, he's not going to be like, okay, just let them gun down the immigrants. But
yeah, it's going to be more, like it's like red tape. Like, he'll be like, I would love for you to be able to do something,
pretty
but
much
legally you can't, and you're Captain America. I think the new issue is out on Wednesday of Cap. I don't know how long Marvel's going to sustain new issues every 2 weeks. It probably won't be too long.
That's their new plan? New production schedule?
I don't think so. I haven't heard anything about it. It might just be, like to get the first bunch of issues out.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure that, because, with all these miniseries and stuff, I'm sure that most artists are way ahead of schedule right now.
I would hope so.
So, I'm sure, like, the first storyline of most comics will be out pretty quickly. Because Iron Man came out 2 weeks after the first issue. So did Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I stopped reading because that was a little crap.
But Nick Spencer is working on. Let's see, he's got Captain America, Astonishing Ant-Man,
which was really good.
Yeah, and I assume he's still writing Morning Glories.
Yep.
Anything else he's working on right now?
Not that I know of, but I don't know everything he's writing for Marvel. He could have something else, but I don't know.
Well, anyway, he's been getting at least I've heard he's been getting death threats and various hate mail.
People are very quick to send death threats over things.
Which, again, it's got to be mostly from people who have not read the comic at all. Oh, there was also a panel in the comic of Captain America at a gay pride parade.
I saw that. It was pretty hot.
I'm surprised that they didn't run with that somehow.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, maybe they're not homophobes, they're just racists. You can be whatever sexuality you want, long as you're white. That's Fox News' probable words, not mine.
I think that's their tagline.
They're going in a new direction.
Yeah, it just goes up on the little ticker across the bottom.
You can bang who you want, long as you're white.
Won't see it, but if you do, it's probably just kind of subliminal.
They'll feel it in their souls.
You catch the end of it, and you're like, did that just?
That can't. No, okay, never mind.
No, but I'm thinking it
now. We'll talk more about Captain America. So yeah, there's a petition to get Nick Spencer to resign, which I think it had 40 signatures last week after a day or two. So even if it got to more than 10,000, which is the goal, I don't get how those work. Just
they don't.
Hey, I signed my name, so do this thing, please. When people were like, hey, bring Beth back on The Walking Dead, and I think it way exceeded the amount of signatures, and I don't know if there was any official statement from AMC, but I'm sure it was just no, you fucking babies.
Well, and that's the thing. Petitions aren't they don't mean anything other than it's just
they're like votes.
Yeah.
Because the votes get sent to did you ever see that Key and Peele skit about voting?
I don't recall that one. No.
It was dudes playing basketball in a park, and it was rock the vote, and it was them coolly explaining the voting process, and it was and then our votes get sent to the Electoral College, and he's like, what's the Electoral College? And he's like, well, no one really knows who's in it or blah blah blah, and he's like, but they get they make the actual real voting, and he's like, and they take our fake votings as suggestions, and if we make the wrong choice, they can fix it for us.
That sounds like a really efficient process. I don't have to know what I'm doing at all.
I can't even vote. I'm not a citizen. Oh my god, Fox News hates me. Wait, no, I'm legally here.
And
I am legally here.
Again, you're white, so everything's
That's
fine.
true. I'm white, so they wouldn't even look at me and think, is he from here? Unless they hear me pronounce banana or garage or something.
Yeah, you do talk funny.
You talk funny. His hair's red. Shut up.
Yeah. Petitions are just there to, let people know what a bunch of other people think.
A bunch of assholes think.
And clearly, this isn't going to have any effect on anyone.
I'm sure we'll see one when they eventually kill Daryl off on The Walking Dead. Bring Daryl back. His storyline wasn't over. You're just doing it to further someone else's storyline. I'm a big dumbass.
We'll probably see one now. Even though all evidence points to Glenn still being alive.
Yeah, he's 100% alive because there's pictures of him filming later episodes.
Which still pisses me off because it would piss me off if he died, but it also pisses me off that they put him in a situation where he clearly should have died.
Not even that, just the way they filmed it, it was clearly him getting his organs ripped out. You could see, maybe this much of his chest and up, and the hands were right here, touching him and getting blood was pooling on him, and the hands were in it.
And he was screaming in pain.
Yeah, and unless Nicholas is, 2 inches wide, getting his guts ripped out on top of Glenn, then that was them touching Glenn. So he's dead. Except he's not, apparently.
Yeah. Well.
Definitely. He's definitely not dead.
Because, they spent most of this episode trying to, show how much better at surviving the main group is than these new Alexandria people, and telling them how they haven't been out in the real world, and they don't know what's going on.
Oh my god, these Alexandria people are so dumb.
Every last one of them.
Rick's group keeps being right about things. It's like any episode ever of House, when they're like, oh, you're what you're talking crazy, Dr. House, and like he's always right. I don't know how many episodes, 7 seasons or whatever. He's 8 seasons. He's right every time.
Maybe for every episode of House, there's actually like 20 other cases that we don't see where he is just terribly wrong.
He has a ton of cases where he's horribly wrong. Let's don't bring him up. But yeah, like Rick's people, like they know how to survive. They haven't been mollycoddled this whole time. That's actually the word that went through my head when I was watching it this morning, and I was like, these people are so goddamn mollycoddled.
Pretty awful. So
because it's like they've been out there, they should know that. Like, because Rick wasn't saying, when Heath overheard him, Rick wasn't. What was he said? Like,
he said
leave
try.
people behind.
He said try to save them.
Yeah. It's not like he's like, I just fucking leave them. He was like, save who you can, but be realistic.
Yeah,
not everyone's going to survive.
Don't slow down.
Like we can't sugarcoat everything.
So yeah, like with all of that, we know how battle hardened they are now. They're real hard people all around. So like I think all the main group are kind of past screaming in fear. Like they did that in the earlier seasons because they were just seeing zombies for the first time, but now
they're seeing a flood of rotting corpses.
Yeah, when they're in like a bad situation now, they're fine. They handle it very calmly. So I don't think Glenn would be screaming unless he was actually having his guts pulled out.
Maybe it's because that dude splattered his brains all over his face. And he was just freaking out. The zombies didn't bother him at all, but he was like, that sucked.
That was several seconds before.
Yeah, it's the slow reaction.
After which he grabs Nick's falling body just to make sure he gets pulled down with
it. Why didn't they kill that guy who was getting eaten alive?
Because they wanted to watch for a good solid minute first.
They watched for a while, because like the whole time I was thinking, okay, you need to kill him and then leave, because that's a bunch of corpses pressing up against that thin fence that's like, I think, held together by a chain. That's gonna give. You need to get out of there, but first, just fucking kill that guy.
Yeah.
He's screaming in your faces.
I was pretty impressed with the girl that got left behind, who, she fell down and was like, just go without me, and then was able to take a few of them out with her own gun first. Herself. Well, she probably didn't know how many bullets she had left.
I think I'd say she didn't know how to shoot. She can do it fine pointing, but when it's like at her own head, her wrist just locks up and it just doesn't work. Yeah. All the nerves mess up.
Because she's a robot and she can't self-terminate.
Oh my god.
Wait, okay, so if there was a Terminator in the Walking Dead universe and they got overwhelmed, like let's say they were, weaker, like maybe the guy from Salvation that thought he was human but was a Terminator. Yeah. So like not operating at full Terminator.
What happened to him?
The actor?
Yeah.
Or the character?
I know what happened to the character. He got his heart ripped out. Jammed into Christian Bale's body.
Don't know.
Because I thought he was like, the next big action star, and then he just sort of fizzled out after the second Clash of the Titans.
I think you just answered your question.
And he had like a weird curly mullet in that. Because he like before that he'd always had like really short, like a buzz cut, like your hair basically, but shorter.
My beautiful, non-existent hair anymore.
You need a hair. I had this manager at work at Books A Million, Tom, who like he always had like really short hair, and occasionally it would get like a little bit like noticeably longer, just because he always had it like pretty much buzzed.
Like fuzz.
Yeah, like it was pretty much fuzz all the time, but sometimes it would get like 1, maybe probably not even 2 inches. I would be like, Tom, are you gonna get a haircut soon? You look like Gene Wilder. What were we talking about before that?
Terminator in Walking Dead.
Terminator. That dude, I guess he's going to be in Avatar too.
Ugh.
But I'm not going to see those movies because I hated the first one.
I liked the first one for what it was, like, not the plot or anything.
I didn't get it. Not like I'm dumb. Like, I got the movie, but like,
didn't get the
appeal.
appeal.
What was good about it.
I just saw it as, like, something that was pretty.
I didn't even think it looked that great. Like, because I didn't see it until, like, a month or two after it came out. I saw it with Theo at somewhere in Noonan, and like the only thing I remember from that movie is when the dude is like, I guess Jake is like, hey, what are those? They're like flying mountains, and the dude, it was the skinny guy from Dodgeball, and he's like, oh, he was like, oh, they're the floating mountains of whatever. Maybe you've heard of them. So we just quoted that to each other about everything we talked about for like weeks. It was like, oh, it's such and such. Maybe you've heard of it. Um, but yeah, like after hearing how everyone was like coming all over themselves about like, oh my god, it looks so realistic and the CGI and blah blah blah. It didn't look that great to me.
I didn't think it looked realistic.
I never got lost in the what's real and what's CGI. I was always like, it's like shitty computer graphics.
Yeah. No, I mean because that was the first big like 3D movie of that trend that I guess is still going on.
My only interest for that sort of technology is the Hulk and Thanos, where they like have like the dude in like just a mocap suit, and then they extrapolate him to big on the screen or different shaped.
Oh, so you just mean them using that technology to get that effect?
Yeah, I don't mean like whatever you're talking about.
I assumed you were saying you wanted to see a 3D movie with the Hulk.
Oh no! I just mean that technology of like
okay,
record like basically just animating video games, but more detailed, I guess.
Yeah.
Modern video games where you have mocap and stuff.
So anyway, if there was a Terminator, do you think zombies would try to eat it?
Yeah, because it's covered in living flesh.
Yeah.
But the question is, would it get infected?
And also, would they stop when it like didn't work? Would they like bite in and realize it was just metal?
What do you mean when it didn't work? They don't. They're dumb. They're zombies.
Yeah, but they're not going to be able to eat anything. Like,
well, they'll get the flesh off.
I guess
that'd be terrifying. Actually, like one of your goes under and a bunch of zombies, and then like you're like, oh my god, they got Jim, and then he like they all like sort of just kind of wander off. You guys hit it for a while, and then he just reveals himself as just a blood soaked Terminator. Oh, that'd be terrifying.
Like maybe a little bit of face left, whatever he was able to prevent from getting eaten off.
Just a nose and lips. Hey, when a Terminator talks, like, does it talk like how we talk, or is it literally just like basically a recording and it just moves its mouth?
Well, I mean, it's not a recording because they have.
No, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, like just a speaker. You mean?
Yeah, like, do they have it? Like, did Ultron? Were those speakers on Ultron's cheeks?
I don't know. Can he talk
in 3D?
Like
speakers, but they might have just been stuff.
Yeah.
Can he what?
Can he talk in 3D?
Can he talk in 3D?
Yeah, noises coming from both sides. Like surround sound, I guess. Surround sound is what I should say.
I don't know. Well, because I don't know if those are speakers, so who knows? Because he's got teeth and lips made of metal. They're really gross.
Did he have lips? I thought they were just kind of...
Yeah, they were totally lips. Like, they covered his teeth, and, like, it was, like, slotted metal, so it just kind of, like, it didn't move as, like, like a fish, like that. It moved, like how lips move, like, where it, goes up first in the middle, and then spreads out. Pretty gross.
Do you think... So, Ultron has a body that, like... Or a face that mostly resembles a human face, creepily, with the lips and the eyebrows and all that. But he doesn't have ears or a nose. Do you think Ultron can't see cartilage?
No. Can he not see cartilage?
Yeah, he doesn't know it exists. He sees a human face and he's like, okay, I know what's going on here. Lips, eyebrows, got it. No nose or ears. Maybe they could have just thrown some sharks at him. And he wouldn't have seen
Maybe
them.
they're just unnecessary to him. Like, he just built a body for efficiency, but also some lips and teeth.
He just really loves lips and teeth.
Doesn't it blink? Does he blink?
Maybe.
Which also seems entirely unnecessary.
No, he's got to moisten his eye sockets.
Maybe he does. Maybe it lubes him up.
For whatever he needs. Them lubed up for.
To see better. It's like cleaner for his lenses.
Or it's just Vaseline to give him a nice starry
Sheen.
effect that he likes. He likes seeing through those eyes. I reread Superior Foes. The Superior Foes of Spider-Man. That's a good one. Also by Nick Spencer.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he wrote that. I didn't forget he wrote that. I just didn't think about it.
Yeah. Which
we were talking about Nick Spencer.
Yeah. I still... It was really great. I loved it. It's one of the funnier comics I've read. And... I
don't know what happened with the artist. Like, it looks really good in Superior Foes, but he did Quantum of What He Must Die, and it just didn't... For most of it, some of it looked fine, but for the most part, it just didn't look that great. Did he do his own inking in Superior Foes? Because he did it in Quantum and Woody.
The artist,
and maybe that was the difference.
Artist Steve Lieber. Yeah, it just says artist, not pencil or ink. So
I don't know. Maybe he just didn't put as much effort into Quantum. Maybe I'm just thinking of the art differently. Like maybe it is the same. But I mean, Woody's hair just looked weird for the most part. So I don't know, it was kind of weird. It's like hair that I would draw when I was a kid, and I didn't understand that hair doesn't go in every direction at once.
Maybe he was just still finding his style.
This was after Superior Foes.
Maybe he lost his style.
I started kind of rereading. Let me start over. I was reading Hellblazer. I finished all my Valiant stuff. I'm all caught up on that. Like, they started releasing big paperbacks of them, 10 or more issues each, because the Hellblazer's done. It finished back in 2013 with issue 300. And then there's a bunch of one shots and miniseries and stuff they're also collecting. So I have volumes 1 through 8, which covers Jamie Delano's run, who was the original writer, and then Garth Ennis' whole run. And I've read the first 4 volumes, which is most of Jamie Delano, and then volume 5 is half Jamie Delano, and then it starts Garth Ennis with his initial story, Dangerous Habits, which is the greatest Hellblazer story of all time. It's the one where he's dying of lung cancer.
Did Garth Ennis write it up till the end, 2013?
No, not at all. No, he wrote until issue, I want to say 83, maybe just 80-something, and then he wrote 5 or 6 issues in 1998, which I do own the single volume of that. And I actually own most of his stuff in the single volumes, but there's 1 or 2 books I don't have that are in the middle. So I just bought these big volumes, but $20 each. And actually Garth Ennis' stuff is 14 or 15 issues per book, and it's still $20, $20. And it's Steve Dillon does a lot of the art, and it's just really good. Garth Ennis is so good. And it's actually where he did the art for Preacher.
Yeah. Okay.
And I actually got the idea for Preacher from writing it, because he had a bit where a demon and an angel have a baby. But yeah, so I'm just getting into the first issue of Dangerous Habits, which I have read before. Again, I've read most of it before, but there's some that I haven't.
Yeah.
I think the entirety of volume 6, which is 14 issues. I haven't read any of that, and then I think 7 I've read all of, and then 8 I've read half of, and then I don't think I ever got the last volume of it, so I never saw the conclusion. But it's great. It's so good. He beats lung cancer. He fights racism. He fights the King of the Vampires while being homeless. He celebrates his 40th birthday. He wins against the Lords of Hell a couple times. It's fantastic.
Are they racist demons, or is he doing all of this demon fighting and then also just a little bit of racism fighting on the side?
Racism. There's a lot of because he deals with the supernatural. It seems as little as possible. He doesn't seem to enjoy what he does.
He dabbles.
He's a magician, but he rarely uses magic. He uses it when he has to. I think the most he uses it that I've read is in Dangerous Habits, because he's pretty much trying anything to cure his cancer.
Is there a reason he doesn't use magic much? There's a finite source of it or something, or he just doesn't like to?
It's got a cost. He's not a fan of the cost of magic. I think at one point he
has to murder a puppy every time he does a spell.
He does some spell, and he has to give up his childhood innocence.
How does that work?
It's weird costs. I don't know. It's weird costs like that. Give up your ability to see the color blue, and stuff like that. Your ability to taste apples. Magic is weird.
Who is getting this trade-off? Is this some sort of deal with the devil? Because the devil doesn't get anything out of that other than
God, no! The devil hates Constantine. Because during the Dangerous Habit story, he goes to see his friend Brandon in Ireland, and because he thinks that maybe he can help him cure his cancer with magic,
or booze.
Or booze. Well, yeah, actually, because Brendan is also dying of cirrhosis. I think cirrhosis of the liver, and he's created magical stout, which he shares with Constantine, out of holy water. And he made a deal with the First of the Fallen, who is one of the Lords of Hell, who's a recurring recurring antagonist in Garth Ennis' run. That basically, he sold his soul The first has to collect it at midnight when he dies. Otherwise, he doesn't get it. If he doesn't collect it exactly at midnight, he doesn't get the soul. And in exchange, he creates magical stout. Because he was dying anyway, so I guess he figured, why not? I'll achieve something. And as long as these candles are lit, it's still magic. And it's the stout, and it doesn't turn back into holy water. So he Constantine tricks the first into drinking a toast with him over the dude's body, and he's like, he'll never believe I got to drink with the devil, blah, blah, blah. So he tricks him into drinking it, and as he's drinking it, he blows out the candles, so it turns into holy water in the first throat, and then Constantine breaks a bottle of wine and glasses him. So he like disappears, and then his friend gets to go to heaven, because he didn't collect the soul at midnight. So then the first, is basically, is just like, I'm gonna fucking destroy you when you die. So Constantine really doesn't want to die.
So the first is the devil?
He's one of the devils. Lucifer, because this is in the same universe as, Sandman, so Lucifer is, a character, but he, owns a bar or something. I haven't read the comic, but they're making a TV show on Fox where he, owns a bar and he, helps the police.
He's really
kind of crappy.
He's really hands-off on the whole hell thing.
He's really into his IPAs. So there's them, and basically the first gets the rights to Constantine's soul by right of insult. And then to cure his cancer, Constantine secretly makes deals with the second and the third of the Fallen. And then he slits his wrists, like in the movie, to force them into coming out, and they're all like, oh my god, he sold his soul to all of us, except for that guy who got it by right of insult.
Is he okay? Is he going to be okay? Oh, he's bleeding a lot.
So, yeah, the demons are really squeamish.
He's okay. He's okay.
So he spends most of an issue bleeding out onto the floor, and it's really gross, thick looking, like Jello blood. It's gross to look at.
It's from all the magic he's been doing.
There's a lot of texture to it. It's like tar, but red. And basically they're like, oh, okay, well, we can't, we're going to go to war over a soul, which means that heaven will take over in the aftermath, so let's fix him up. So they basically kill him, and then reconstruct him, atom by atom, which I think Constantine described as the most painful thing he's ever been through. So they cure him, and they're like, we'll get you, Constantine, and he's like, no, I think you're actually going to look out for me, pretty good, because if I die, it all goes tits up. And then he turns around and gives him all the finger and says, up yours, walks out.
I thought you were going to say his blood was so gross coming out that none of them really wanted to touch him, and so nobody got him.
It's you can have your soul. And apparently he blackmails God at some point, not in Garth Ennis' run, but later on in the series.
That sounds like a Garth Ennis thing to do, though.
It does, but that's not his thing, apparently. So yeah, he meets him at a campfire and blackmails him into fixing his soul so it's not condemned to hell anymore or something.
Blackmails him with what?
He blackmails him by saying that if he goes to hell, he'll take over and not let any new souls in, and that would really mess everything up. So God's like, okay.
He didn't have some embarrassing pictures of God.
He was a swinging Richards. Oh, and I do want to point out that it is pronounced Constantine. As much as they love to say Constantine in the TV show and the movies, it's Constantine. He pronounces it in the comic, so that's how it's pronounced.
You can hear it in the comic.
Well, he does, some people will say, hey, Constantine, and it'll be spelled T-E-E-N, and he's like, no, it's Tine. Rhymes with fine.
And he is...
So, and as much as people will be like, oh, well, that's what the pronunciation is, it's teen. It's like, okay, but if Voldemort can say that Ralph is pronounced Rafe, then John Constantine can say that it's pronounced Constantine, and that's what it's goddamn pronounced as.
I don't think he's ever actually said that. I think everyone else decided to call him Rafe Fiennes, and
he's never corrected them.
I think he really wants them to stop, and he's tried to get them to stop, but nobody will.
Guys, there's an L in it.
Okay, Rafe.
I call him Ralph because Rafe is not a name. I'm sorry. I can get the Constantine thing because it is T-I-N-E. I can, if I didn't, I had never heard the word Constantine before, I would have assumed Constantine just because of how it looks. But Ralph, that's pretty one way. There's not really any wiggle room there.
Except for this one case.
Except for this one case of maybe it's like after he made Schindler's List, he's like, I'm on top of the world. I can do what I want, and he just like as a joke changed it, and nobody corrected him, so he just went with it.
Yeah.
Like Daniel Day-Lewis could do something like that because nobody would like argue with him over it.
Oh, you mean Denial Deleuze?
Denial Deleuze. He sounds like an up and coming female model.
Well, he probably could be, and he would get really into that character.
Why don't more actors do that? Like, just go crazy over roles. I feel like that's a really easy thing to do. I think more people get Oscars.
I guess most people are just terrible actors.
Apparently, I feel like I'd be really good at doing, like, just losing myself into a role if I was an actor.
Just losing your mind.
Because it seems really easy to act, and I don't know how some people do it so badly.
Well,
you gotta believe the lie.
We just need to get this podcast out to all of the studios.
Let's hire this guy. Let's let him put his money where his mouth is.
He said he wants to be an actor. That's all we need. All right.
So I'm excited for Ash vs. the Evil Dead.
Yeah, that's this weekend, you said?
Yeah, Saturday. They released the first 4 minutes online.
There's been Evil Dead comics, right?
Yeah, a bunch of them. I have a bunch of them.
Well, then that gives us plenty of leeway to talk about it on the podcast.
They did also do a Marvel crossover, Ash or Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies, or the other way around.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that one. Is that good?
It was good, though. Yeah, it's good, but Marvel seems to like deny that it exists because they've done like omnibuy of the Marvel Zombie stuff, like big collections of the Marvel Zombie stuff, and they've done like a book that's literally just the covers, and they've had the stuff that Ash is, like, they've had covers that Ash should have been on, and they like took him out completely. And I'm pretty sure the Army of Darkness issues are not in any of the big collections.
Weird.
So maybe like they only had the rights for so long, or I don't know, but they seem like pretty willing to have people not remember that happened.
Weird.
But I own it, so they can't really edit my memories.
Oh, can today? Check your bookshelf.
No.
No, alright. Okay, well, that's a good place to wrap up. So yeah, Nick Spencer is great.
Yeah.
He's who we came to talk about. And so
yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Don't listen to how the people who hate him, they're wrong.
Big old dummies.
And go buy all his books. I would like to say that people should buy Morning Glories because it seems very interesting, but I've only read the first volume, and I still have.
I will say people should read Morning Glories because it's real good.
No clue what is going on in that comic, and I imagine I won't for quite some time, even into it.
Okay, they have a Marvel Zomnibus on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure it has literally every Marvel Zombie series except for Army of Darkness.
Yeah, read Morning Glories, I guess.
Read Morning Glories, I know.
And Superior Foes of Spider-Man. That's my favorite Nick Spencer book, I would say.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite too. Oh well, I don't know. I'd say Ant-Man is the first volume just because it's so good. Like I never expected to like Ant-Man, and holy crap, it's good.
Yeah, he got that out right in time for the movie.
And now he's got a new ongoing series.
Yeah,
I can't wait for first issue of Spider-Man, the Miles Morales series.
Is
especially
Bendis
after how
still writing that?
Yeah, it's Bendis and Pacelli. I would have preferred if it was Marquez, but he's doing Iron Man, so I can forgive that because that's really good too.
Marquez?
He did most of the art for Miles Morales after Pacelli left.
Okay.
Pretty much all the art. I think Chris Samney did like a couple issues, and then had some scrub in like Volume 3, but mostly it's Marquez. And at first I was like, oh, they need to bring back Pacelli, but Marquez is so much better. Because like Pacelli has that thing where sometimes she draws him from like Miles from like a 3/4 angle, and his eyes are way too close together.
Is that your one complaint? Because it's very specific.
Pretty much. She also makes Miles like way too skinny in like a Spider-Man costume, but with like a big head, which is off-putting sometimes. Because it's like I get that he's like a teenager, and he's like because he's like 13 at the start of the series. I think he's like 15 or 16 now. But also I want to be able to believe that he can punch someone and not break his arm.
Yeah. And what else? Bedlam?
Yeah, Bedlam's really good. It might be coming back soon. He had a thing before I stopped following him. He had a thing on Twitter where he mentioned like the first volume was getting like a reprint, and he's like, "Ooh, and that's just in time," or something like just implying that it's coming back, which I'm excited for because it was a good comic.
That was one of the first times I was met with the disappointment of finding out that a comic isn't just all done for me. Like, it was one of the first things you recommended to me, and I read it.
God.
And I read, I finished everything that there was, and I was like, okay, so when's the next volume coming out? Oh, it's maybe never. Nothing planned.
It just sort of abruptly ended, and they're like, I guess they never really said anything about what's happening with it.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll hear something soon.
So.
Because it's a really cool concept.
Yeah, it was good. It was like, it was like if the Joker was Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, like if the Joker got reformed and helped the police.
Yeah. Read Nick Spencer stuff. Support the guy, because he's great, and not poisoning America, or whatever Fox wants us to believe.
Some racist crap.
I
Don't support the Sons of the Serpent, they're bad guys.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't want us to get into anything, like, particularly political in this podcast, but that is just...
I think it's more common sense.
Yeah, it's just so dumb.
Don't side with the violent racists if you claim to not be a violent racist.
The self-proclaimed violent
if they
racists.
Want to say, if they want to come out and say, like, I think this is me as saying like them, this isn't my personal opinion. If they want to come out and say, like, oh yeah, we hate non-whites and immigrants and we want to do violence on them, then agree with the Sons of the Serpent all you want. But if you're going to claim to not be racists, like giant racist assholes, then maybe don't side with the giant racist assholes who dress like snakes. Also, the woman on it was like, at the very end, she was like, maybe keep politics out of comic books. Like, it's Captain America. Like, he was made as propaganda.
I think
that's not even something you have to do research on.
I think they even mentioned in that video how they wish they could go back to when Captain America just fought Hitler.
Yeah, like punch Hitler in the face. Like the Sons of the Serpent would love Hitler.
Like, yeah, we can agree.
Side with them.
We can agree that Hitler needed to be punched in the face for the same reason that the Sons of the Serpent do. They're terrible people.
Violent, racist assholes with probably shitty hair and mustaches.
But you can't see because they're dressed like snakes.
Like sane people. At least Captain America is just dressed in like a red, like he's not dressed like an animal.
Like a patriot.
Like a falcon of justice and truth. See, that's the problem now, because he's got stupid wings. Apart. He's not Captain America. He's a falcon with a shield.
I'm hoping it'll be good because it's Nick Spencer. Anything else people should read?
Hellblazer. Go read Hellblazer.
Even the new stuff? You were talking about the 90s stuff, mostly.
The new stuff, right now, because he is in the new, or not New 52 anymore, but he is in like the modern DC universe. Justice League Dark was good. His first series, Constantine, was good. And now he's got one called Constantine the Hellblazer, which I haven't read yet. I've heard is really good. I think it's written by one of the artists for Quantum and Woody. So that it's 50-50.
Yeah, that's
I guess,
not usually a good thing.
It's going to be good. But the first volume's out in like January, 6 issues. I've heard it's really good, so I'll check it out.
So read that stuff. Don't watch Oculus.
What was it? Watch the first half hour of Oculus.
Yeah, and then just kind of
finish
the story in your head. I say the first hour probably. Like the first half of it was fine. It was just I've already said it. Already been there.
Yeah.
Walking Dead. Keep watching Walking Dead.
Yeah, watch Walking Dead. Oh my god, watch it next week because they're showing the Preacher trailer. I'm hoping it'll be good. Like, I know, I get the whole we're not making it a panel for panel adaptation to keep the fans guessing, but just why couldn't they base it in the 90s? The comic has such a 90s feel to it. Like, I remember it from the 90s. I didn't even read it until like 2008, but I remember it as a thing from the 90s. And when you read it, it has that feel to it. Like, it feels like a 90s movie.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.